Good evening, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Let's see what happened with Bitcoin for the day. So taking a look at our daily candle here, it does look like we had a bearish close. Kind of had some tweezer tops, unfortunately. Our high was 66,712, low was 65,500. We closed at about 66,082. We're just down $445. So nothing major. Honestly, today, was basically honestly treated like a weekend, which obviously if you have Saturday pumping, during the week, we kind of expected this type of price action, unfortunately. You never want to see Saturday or Sunday pumping over the weekend, or dumping for that matter. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look and see kind of what to expect for tonight through tomorrow morning for Bitcoin. So, one of the more interesting timeframes I would say for right now would probably be your 10-hour and your 8-hour. So when it comes to the 10-hour, you're kind of getting rejected off of that 200 MA for right now. You may need to have the 21 and the 50 get closer to price action before we get the follow through. It's kind of the same situation as the 8-hour. So honestly, guys, it really is a toss-up to me at this point. You could even see the last 8-hour candle was a bullish doji. So really, we could close either way, okay? Or we could basically make a move either way, I should say. Honestly, I'm kind of expecting a drop, possibly again to the low 65,000-ish area, maybe off of the 65,186. I could definitely see that happening. And I could also see a move up to about 67.5 and getting rejected off of this order block up here. So it really is a toss-up up in the air which direction you're framing for Bitcoin. As far as patterns go, if you take a look at some of the lower time frames here, like the 4-hour, for example, you can basically see that we are in some sort of a consolidation, kind of bullish pennant, I would say. I would call it bullish just from how it, came out of the, or started, I should say, the pattern. So I definitely think that this is more of a bullish pennant, but it could also break down as well. So let's go ahead and take a measured move just to see kind of where this would be at if it were to go down. So if it were to go down, you're looking at where? Looking at about getting into that order block around 64.7, testing weekly open, which makes a lot of sense. There's some confluence right there. But if we were to, let me go ahead and clone this one. If we were to move this up, you're getting close to 67 2-ish area, which again is almost like testing the top of that order block. So, this is almost a bullish triangle, but it could definitely break down, depending on if it's considered in a premium. Maybe that is another thing we should also check as well. So let's see here. If we take a look, definitely you can just visually tell that, from the range that we're in, let me get another chart up here just to make it clean here. If I were to pull this, get a nice fib tool here, and I pull it from the very bottom to the top here, you can definitely see that we're in the premium of the range. That's, within this smaller range. Now, if you're including this larger range that we've been in, and we could take a look at it from, maybe this perspective here, this bigger range up here, then you're still in the discount. You're below that 50% dealer's range area, right? So this is the discount of the larger range, but it's the premium of the local range that we've been in since the beginning of June. That being said, at any given time, it could be a possibility that we do break out of this, local range and get into the bigger range again. Let's take a look real quick and see kind of where the 50% line is. So that's around 70,000. And I know that's been an area that we've been targeting for a while. We definitely have liquidity up there as well. So there is a potential that pretty soon we do break out of this smaller range and we get back into the larger range that we've been in for a few months now, since about February, right? So kind of what we're seeing for Bitcoin is there's a potential that we either stay in the current local range that we're in, or we break out upwards to the bigger range that, we've been in since February. Either possibility I could see at this point, unfortunately. Taking a look at the 4-hour, you're still above that 21, you're hugging it. That's definitely could be a bullish move. your stochastics are low. I know it's harder to see on my iPad here, but right here you can see that the orange line and the blue is definitely lower. You also have, I know you had a red dot on market cipher B, but you are, getting some green money flow coming in as well. So definitely a potential that we could get a move to the upside as long as we can still consolidate here and hopefully, I would say even keep the 21 on the 4 hour. That's probably going to be the make it or break it, I would say. If we lose that 21 on the 4 hour, I would say that's when we probably are going to for sure get a move down. Now, taking a look at the hourly, it does look like we're going to start breaking down here, kind of a complex head and shoulders type of formation. Definitely could see a discount getting hit, but it's really going to, like I said, guys, it's really going to depend on, what the markets want to do for tonight. One thing to make of note is that tomorrow morning, we do have unemployment claims, I believe. So that definitely is going to move the market in one direction or the other. I wouldn't expect too much tonight. Keep in mind, though, if we do get a drop tonight, and maybe we get some sort of 786 off of 65K or the weekly open at 64.7, I am expecting for there to be a reversal tomorrow if we get the bounce, or basically the drop before the news event, okay? That being said, guys, let's go ahead and take a real quick look at liquidity and see what's going on there. So taking a look at liquidity, let me zoom in here. So if you take a look at the 4 hour, you do have more liquidity to the upside, right? And that's been kind of the one thing we've been taking a look at. That's obviously with the 10x checked off. We also have more closer to us with just the 25x checked off as well. And in addition to that, you're kind of in that bullish flaggish pattern that we talked about. So definitely is a potential, for us to get that move up. I do want to see us keep 65,642 though. I don't want to see us lose that 21 MA on the 4 hour. So definitely something to watch out for. Taking a look at the 1 hour. So the 1 hour does show that we could basically go either direction for right now. Going down could take us to about 64,470, which is around weekly open, kind of some more confluence there. But I would expect probably a bounce off of the 200 MA, essentially, if we were to get that drop for the hour. Now, to the upside, you definitely could see 67.5, 67.4 up there, okay? And then finally, the 15-minute here, kind of the same scenario, not too much different to talk about. Looking at the 50X, kind of have the same thing. You got a ton of liquidity to the upside here. You have a little bit down here. You got some green areas around 65,000 even, which is our value area low, as well as our basically our Monday midnight open, I believe. So got some areas of confluence right there that we could basically bounce off of as well. Let's go ahead and take a real quick look at our order book through open market. So taking a real quick look at our order book here, let's go ahead and let the data refresh. You can see that there is an order right here. This would take us to about 65,600, it looks like. And it does give us a bridge, unfortunately, to the downside. So we could definitely see more downward potential. We also have some orders, though, starting to build up to the upside. So you can see that we do have some within the 66,000 area, 66,450, 66,500-ish area. We also have some way up here, bigger orders as well at 67,000 and further on. So definitely, I could basically see maybe a drop for right now and then we get a bounce. That's what it's kind of framing. Maybe we get a small bounce into 65K territory and then we get that bounce up. Now, finally, let's take a real quick look at the simple map here. Let me refresh my screen. So taking a look at the simple map, we do have, a potential to the downside, obviously. We do have a bridge to get us to around 65 even, it looks like. We do have like that little bar up to basically act as resistance or support, I should say, going to the downside. However, we are building up more short liquidity to the upside to give us that bridge all the way up to 67,000, it looks like. So I would definitely be targeting 67, 67.5 to the upside if we were to get that move up. To the downside, it looks like we're going to find some support around 65K, at least for right now. If not, it would be around that 64.7 number. The swing time frame has been basically showing the identical type of situation, just on a larger time frame scale. So 25X, 10X, 5X kind of showing the exact same thing, with the top being 67,000. and then obviously our support at 65,000 around there. So anyways, guys, that is what I'm seeing for this evening. My numbers haven't really changed from earlier on today, but I hope you find these videos helpful, and I will